Running your own server can be a bit of a drag, especially if you have to manage a big cluster and run backups, make sure everything's going. If you're a small business, you might want to go with a hosted solution, so that's what I'm showing you now. It's compose.io. It used to be MongoHQ, but they've now broadened things out. They host MongoDB, Elasticsearch, Redis, Postgres, and RethinkDB. Hosted RethinkDB. It's up on Amazon. That's where the data center is. So basically, it's a slick interface on having your RethinkDB server running up on AWS. It's a subscription service, and they do it by data size, so that's actually pretty good. When you consider how big your database can get if you're a successful business, well, it's well worth paying $75, $150 a month to house that much data. You can also choose where you want it to be. You can see EU West and US East. Those are the only two choices you get, but, well, that's just the deal for now with RethinkDB. It is still in beta, and I have a feeling they're probably going to broaden the choices out as soon as they exit beta. All right, so I'm creating a deployment here, and it takes just a minute as they do their things, and it's kind of fun. You can sit here and read these little messages that they give you down at the bottom. It took about, 2 or 3 minutes. Let's just skip ahead. It would have been fun to read them all, but I want to show you what's going on here. So having a look through this console back here, you have an overview, and it tells you how to connect and add a user and where your server is and connection information. I'll talk about each one of those things in just a minute. But if we scroll down here, you can see our deployment topology. In other words, what do your servers look like? How are things all set up? And you can see each one of our servers is healthy. It's got an IP address, and it's got a name for each one of the servers, including a proxy, which is quite nice. So there's our topology. If we want to go and we can see our backups right here, there's no backups, but they do run it nightly for you. And they also support on-demand backups if you want all your data right this very second. There's a lot to this service, including a Mongo importer. But what I want to do right now is let's log in and take a look at our server setup. So I'll take what they gave me here, an SSH tunnel, and I'll try and log in. And I should be challenged for the authenticity of the host, and I say yes, and boom, permission denied. That's an important thing to see here, that it's denying the permissions to access the server directly. And so what we want to do instead is we want to be sure that we add a user in, and you do this by adding in an SSH key, just like you do at GitHub. So to get at your SSH key, if you're running on a Mac, you can just use cat to display the information to the screen, and it should be living in .ssh and then id_rsa.pub. And yes, I have blurred this out so you don't get to see it. Sorry. I'll paste it in here, and then when I hit save, I just have to wait for a second or so while it creates the user on each one of the machines. Good. Now I should be able to SSH into the boxes. What I want to do, though, is I want to actually see the admin UI, and it gives you some SSH tunnel settings right here. Now, for some reason, I don't know why they tunneled me in on those IP addresses. It didn't seem to work. So what I did is I had to reset this to 127.0.0.1.80.80, as you see here. Otherwise, I got a weird error. Anyway, now that I've got the SSH tunnel in, I can go to localhost 8080, and there it is. I am browsing my servers that compose.io set up for me. And from here, I can do all the administration tasks and querying and whatnot that we have been doing up to now in this course.